Logical morning. Welcome to Vidikya presents the Hindu newspaper analysis. Today's session will have following segments. First, overview of today's newspaper. Second, must know topics and explanation. Third, quiz time with 5 important questions. Starting with the first segment, overview of today's newspaper. So today's first article is Ukraine drops pitch for NATO. So the whole conflict was that Ukraine was trying to join NATO, but later, because of the ongoing conflict and because the Ukraine believes that NATO countries are not supporting Ukraine, so now Zelensky has dropped the idea of joining NATO. So this is first news. There's nothing important in this article. Then all international flights to resume from March 27. So due to the COVID pandemic since March 2021, March 2020, all the COVID flights or the international flights were banned, and there were only few flights that were operating in international routes. But now the restrictions have been removed. So in this page, no important articles in this page also. There's also in this page also there's no important article for CLAT exam. This says that Delhi government to focus on early childhood care education. So this is not important. What is important here is Article 45 of Constitution of India, which talks about early childhood care and education. So you have to remember that which article deal with early childhood care. It's Article 45 of Constitution of India. It is directive principle of state policy. So it is not a fundamental right. It is a TPSP. No important article from this page. Now, this article also talks about the same Russia-Ukraine crisis, how the citizens of people who are living in the war don't Ukraine. So what they feel, how they are reacting to this situation, and what impact will have on their memories in long term. So that is not important. It is a philosophical article. So the another important article is clear signals India and China must take on board global currents that could reshape ties. So in this also that we have seen that China has designated Quad as ASEAN, not NATO. However, that we have discussed about Quad, we have discussed about NATO and China's criticism of Quad and NATO. So, but what is important here is that AUKUS. It is mentioned here AUKUS. So we'll discuss AUKUS. Then there is Five Intelligence Alliance. So these are two important groupings, that is AUKUS and Five Intelligence Alliance, that we will discuss. Then revive tax increases about tobacco product use. So this we will discuss that this article talks about COVID-19 pandemic is not the only pandemic, but use of tobacco, which is causing around 13 lakh deaths per year, and how this can be reduced. So this is another article. Then global stagflation rise. Then, as we have discussed, that now European countries are banning oil import from Russia, and Russia supplies around 40% of gas to the European Union, around 30% of oil to the European Union. And due to the ban and because of the less supply of the crude oil or gas, the prices of the crude oil and gas will rise, and it will lead to inflation, and which will also lead to stagflation. What is stagflation? Stagflation is nothing but inflation and unemployment. Inflation and unemployment. So these are the 2 points that you have to remember, that why Russia is important for European Union. Therefore, Germany is not in favor of banning oil or gas import from Russia. And earlier we have discussed about Nord 1 Stream pipeline, Nord 2 Stream pipeline. For more information, you can watch previous lectures. We have discussed about stagflation. Now, this debunking an urban myth about Taj Mahal, this is not important. Another important article. This is also related to Indian volunteer joining Ukraine Legion and member Indian citizens coming from Ukraine. That is not important. Then India, China to hold fresh rounds of talk for disengagement in the Ladakh region and other region where there is a conflict going on between India and China along LAC. That is not important, but the basic information related to India-China conflict happening in the Ladakh region and in this line of actual control. And the earlier points of disengagement were this Gogra and this other hot spring and Demchok and the Psang plain. So these were some points of disengagement, some areas where disengagement talks are going on. This is the 14th talk. This is the 14th talk that will take place between India and China, representatives from India and China. Now this whole newspaper is related to UP or Goa election. So no important news. So here Bangladesh, India, Nepal to move ahead of MBA Pact. So we'll discuss what is MBA Pact and what is BBIN. So that is important for CLAT examination. Now we'll start with the explanation of the important articles. So the first article here is revive tax increases stub out tobacco product use. So what this article says that we are witnessing that the deaths due to the COVID pandemic, and it has been seen as one of the major pandemics that has occurred recently. However, this article says that there is a silent killer in our midst that kills an estimated 1.3 million Indians every year. So there is a silent killer which kills around 13 lakh people per year in India. It is use of tobacco, as a result of which more than 3,500 Indians die every day. So because of the use of tobacco, around 3,500 Indians die every day. This tobacco can be directly consumed through cigarettes, through BD, or through other hookah or other stuff. So what this article says that how can this be reduced? This can be reduced that a price increase induces people to quit or reduce tobacco use, as well as discourages non-users from getting into the habit of tobacco use. So this article says that price increase will either induce people to quit or to reduce, and at the same time it will also discourage non tobacco users getting into the habit of tobacco use. So this is thing that how increase in price of tobacco can lead to reduce in the deaths from tobacco use. So taxation, and how this can be done? This can be done through taxation. Taxation is one of the most cost-effective measure to reduce demand for tobacco products. So by increasing taxation, by imposing cess on imposing cess on the tobacco products, the price of the tobacco products can be increased. However, nonetheless, ever since the introduction of GST legislation in 2017, there has been no significant tax increase on tobacco product, barring a minor increase in the national calamity contingent duty during the union budget. So this article says post the GST implementation, there has been a little increase in the taxation of tobacco product, and which failed to deter the people from reducing or quitting, or from discouraging people joining making the habit of tobacco use. So taxation is one area which can be used to reduce the habit of use of tax tobacco use. However, because the lack of a political will, the taxes are not increased on tobacco product, and therefore the government could not prohibit, or government could not reduce, or government could not persuade people to reduce or quit tobacco use. So the absence of a tax increases on tobacco has the potential to reverse the reduction in tobacco use prevalence that India saw during last decade, and now push more people into harm's way. So we have discussed how taxation will play its role in reducing the habit of tobacco use. It will also mean foregone taxes revenue for the government, especially at a time when government of India is looking forward to increase the share of public spending. However, with the increase of taxes, what will happen? The reduction in or quitting the habit of use of tax. At the same time, more tax or more revenue can be generated by government of India, which it can use for public expenditure. And India is looking to increase its public expenditure in health and education sector, and through the taxation of tobacco use, through the increase in the taxation of tobacco product, this revenue can be generated, which can be later used in the public expenditure. So now in this article, we will discuss about Quad, 5 Intelligence Alliance, and about AUKUS. So Quad we have discussed time and again. Again, we'll discuss about Quad. In short, 4 countries are there: Australia, Japan, India, and USA. And another important thing, it focuses on Indo-Pacific region, and the objective is to free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. And then another important thing related to Quad is Malabar exercise. That is Malabar exercise. Malabar exercise is a naval exercise. It started in 1992. Now in 2021, all 4 countries participate. That is, these are the 4 countries that participate in the Malabar exercise. Once again, remember that this is a naval exercise. Now, what is 5-5 Intelligence Alliance? So the 5-5 Intelligence Alliance comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, and USA. The countries in this are 5-5 Intelligence Alliance: Australia, UK, US, New Zealand, and Canada. So it is also known as Espionage Alliance in the world. It is also known as the most well-known of all espionage alliances in the world. The campaign is against end-to-end encryption. So the campaign is against end-to-end encryption of messages by social media giants such as Facebook, which they saw hinder the law enforcement by blocking access to them. So what happens when there is an end-to-end encryption? Then in that case, the investigating agency will not be able to find who the accused is, and because of that it cannot punish or it cannot deter the activities which are harming the society, such as, for example, sexual online harassment of the people, eve teasing, and other such activities. Because of the end-to-end encryption, or because of and other instances like fake news and deep fakes are there, because of the end-to-end encryption, it is difficult, it is not possible to find who the accused is, who the guilty is. So therefore this is an alliance against end-to-end encryption. So when end-to-end encryption is applied with no access to content, it severely undermines the ability of companies to take action against illegal activity on their own platform. So in case of any illegal activities on their own platform, because of end-to-end encryption, it is not possible to find who the person is behind this illegal activity. Therefore, this intelligent alliance was launched, and it is against the end-to-end encryption. Now, the other important grouping in this article is AUKUS. What is AUKUS? It is a new trilateral security. First thing is you have to remember, it is a security partnership for Indo-Pacific region. This is also focused on Indo-Pacific region. And why Indo-Pacific region is important? Because it has around 50% of world population, then around 50% of world's GDP, and one third, around 40%, 50% of trade passes through this Indo-Pacific region. So the major highlight of it is an arrangement between Australia, UK, and USA. So there are three countries that Australia, then UK, then US. The major highlight of this arrangement is the sharing of US nuclear submarine technology to Australia. So in this, the US will pass its nuclear power technology to Australia. As a part of this initiative, Australia will acquire nuclear power submarine with the help from UK and US. So this is important. And one more thing is that this is the first time that US is sharing its nuclear power the submarine technology with any country other than UK. So it started sharing its technology with the United Kingdom 1958. After that, it is the Australia, with which United States of America is sharing its nuclear power submarine technology with any other country, that is Australia. And why nuclear submarines are important? Nuclear submarines that are quieter than their conventional counterparts, but also more capable of being deployed for longer periods and needing to surface less frequently. So these are more quiet than the conventional submarine, and they can also be deployed for long time period compared to the conventional submarine. Countries having nuclear powered submarine currently: India, China, US, UK, France, Russia. So these are P5 countries, that is permanent members of United Nations Security Council, or also called as P5, and then India. Now Australia will be the seventh country having nuclear powered submarine. Another article is Bangladesh, India, Nepal to move ahead of Motor Vehicles Act. So about BBIN and MBA. So what is BBIN? Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, and MBA is Motor Vehicle Act. So Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal had signed a framework MBA in June 2015 to enable movement of passenger and cargo vehicles across border among the four countries. So this was an agreement was signed for the movement of cargo and passenger vehicle across the four countries. However, Bhutan has not yet ratified the pact for its entry to come into force. However, Bhutan had given its consent for BBI and MBA to enter into force among the three countries, that is Bangladesh, India, Nepal, who already ratified. So Bhutan has not still ratified this MBA Act, and Bhutan has given its consent that other three countries, that Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, can go ahead with implementation of this project. Why Bhutan is opposing? Bhutan is opposing because Bhutan believes that it will lead to ecological destruction of its country, and Bhutan is the only carbon negative country in the world. So Bhutan is threatened that with the increased passage of passenger and cargo vehicle, it will lead to degradation of environment in the Bhutan, and will lead to loss of biodiversity in the Bhutan. So that is why Bhutan is not ratifying this agreement, and Bhutan is not willing to go forward with this agreement. However, Bhutan has given its consent that other three countries, that is Bangladesh, India, Nepal, can go forward with this Motor Vehicle Act, and can proceed and can use this Motor Vehicle Act for passing the passenger and cargo cargo trucks or buses for the delivery of goods and for the transport of passengers. The main objective of the agreement is to provide seamless people-to-people contact and enhancing economic interaction by facilitating cross-border movement of people and goods. It will lead to more people-to-people contact, and it will also facilitate border movements of people and goods. What are the benefits? It would permit unhindered movement of passenger and cargo vehicles among four countries. So that is unhindered movement. So cargo vehicles do not have to be changed at border. So right now, for suppose this is India, this is Bhutan. So here at the border, this cargo vehicle has to change. The cargo will be unloaded from Indian vehicle, and then it will be loaded in the Bhutan vehicle. Then it will go into Bhutan. So with this, it was supposed to have that there will be there will be unhindered movement, and the cargo will not be unloaded, and India truck will go to Bhutan and unload its cargo. So now, because Bhutan is not going forward with this proposal, this will be implemented with Bangladesh, India, and Nepal. The BBN agreement will promote safe economic. It will also lead to efficient transportation of goods and people. Economic, efficient, and environmentally sound road transport in the sub-region will help further each other country in creating an institutional mechanism for regional. It will also lead to more regional integration between the four countries. So this is all about Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal Motor Vehicle Act. We have discussed the countries why Bhutan is not ratifying this, and Bhutan, however, Bhutan has given its consent that three countries can ratify it. What are the benefits of it? It will lead to more economic integration, more regional cooperation. It will be more efficient transportation, efficient transport of cargo also. So that's all. Now, one more topic, that is BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC is also mentioned in this article. So we'll discuss about what BIMSTEC is. What is BIMSTEC? It is an effort to integrate the region. It is an effort to integrate the region. The grouping was formed in 1997. First thing you have to remember, it is signed in the 1997. Originally with Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, and later included Myanmar, Nepal, Bhutan. So there are 7 countries, and the countries are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka. So BIMSTEC. So what is the full form of BIMSTEC? BIMSTEC full form is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multilateral Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, which now includes 5 countries from South Asia and 2 from Asia. So BIMSTEC have 5 countries from South Asia and 2 countries from ASEAN, that is Myanmar and Thailand. So these 2 and these 5 are from SAARC. So it includes all the major countries of South Asia except Maldives, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. So you have to remember that Maldives, Afghanistan, and Pakistan are not member of BIMSTEC. So why BIMSTEC is important? So as the region's largest economy, India has lot at stake. India is the largest economy in the region, so it has a lot at stake. BIMSTEC connect not only South and Southeastern Asia. So this is South Asian country. This is Asian country. So BIMSTEC will provide act as a bridge between the SAARC countries and the Asian country, but also it ecologies of the Greater Himalayan Bay of Bengal. So these countries also share the Bay of Bengal region and also the Himalayas. So that will also a cooperation between these countries. Therefore, this becomes important for India. For India, it is a natural platform to fulfill our key foreign policy priorities of neighborhood first and Act East policy. This will also help India to fulfill the objective of its neighborhood first policy, that is neighborhood first policy, and Act East. Act East means India's eastern country, that is ASEAN country. So it will help India to fulfill its objective of national neighborhood first policy and Act East policy. And why other important thing about BIMSTEC, that over 1/5, that 20% of 22% of world population live in 7 countries around it. So it consists of around 22% of the world population. The Bay of Bengal has also untapped natural resource, 1/4 of world's traded good across the bay here. So a lot of trade passes through the Bay of Bengal in that, and it has a lot of untapped resources. This is why it becomes important for India. So now we will discuss 5 important questions related to today's discussion. The first question is AUKUS. AUKUS was formed in which year? Your option 2021, 1992, 2020, 2002. So the correct option is 2021. What is AUKUS? There are 3 members: Australia, UK, US. It is a security arrangement in which the nuclear power submarine will be supplied to Australia. Question number 2, which of the following is not a member of Five Eye intelligence group? Your option are India, China, both of the above, Canada. The correct option is both of the above. So both India and China are not part of the Five Eye intelligence. However, the Five Eye intelligence are planning to include India also into the grouping. So the current countries are US, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. These are the Five Eye intelligence countries. Question number 3, which of the following country is not part of BIMSTEC? So we have discussed about BIMSTEC. So which of the countries are not part of BIMSTEC? Your option are India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Nepal. So the correct option is Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not part of BIMSTEC. Question number 4, how many countries in the world have nuclear power submarine? Nuclear power submarine. So we have discussed this. Your options are 5, 6, 7, none of the above. The correct option is 6 countries. 6 countries have nuclear power submarine, and Australia will be 7th. The other 6 are US, UK, France, Russia, China, and India. Last question, how many countries are part of SAARC? Your options are 8, 9, 10, none of the above. We have discussed this about SAARC in previous section also, so you must be knowing this. The correct option is SAARC. So again, we'll discuss about SAARC. There are 8 countries, and which are these countries? That is VPS. So the 8 countries are Maldives. So it's Maldives, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, and India. And it was formed in year 1985. So that's all for this session. Stay logical with Vidhigya, your best pal in CLAT trips.